Once upon a time, in a quiet village of ancient China, there lived a boy named Kong Rong. He was the youngest in a large family, the fourth child to be exact, but his mind and heart were far older than his years. The villagers often praised him for his intelligence and kind nature, even though he was still a child. One warm autumn day, the family received a basket of ripe, juicy pears. The aroma filled the entire house, and the children's eyes sparkled with excitement. Pears were a rare treat, and each child eagerly reached for one. But Kong Rong, observing his older brothers and sisters, stayed quietly on the side, his small hands folded in his lap. His mother noticed his restraint and smiled softly. "Kong Rong," she asked, "why don't you take a pear with the rest?" Kong Rong looked up with clear eyes. "Mother," he said politely, "I am the youngest. My elder brothers and sisters should have the best pieces. I am small and young. I will take a smaller one. It is only fair." His mother's heart warmed at his words. She looked at his eldest brother, who was about 10 years old, and asked, "Do you agree with Kong Rong?" The boy nodded slowly, though he was puzzled. "But why, Kong Rong? The pears are sweet and delicious. You could take the biggest one." Kong Rong tilted his head and replied with a small smile. "Because you are older than me, and age brings responsibility. I am young and small. I should learn patience and humility. If I let you take the bigger pears, everyone will be happier, and I will also learn to be content with what I have." His siblings paused for a moment, touched by his words. Slowly, each one looked at their little brother with admiration. Then, in a surprising gesture of respect, the eldest child handed Kong Rong a pear, saying, "Since you are so kind and thoughtful, perhaps you deserve the biggest pear after all." Kong Rong shook his head gently, insisting, "No, this one is fine for me. I am young. I will enjoy this small pear. You are older. You should have the larger pieces. Sharing is not just about food. It is about care and fairness." The family laughed and applauded his wisdom. That simple act of giving up the biggest pear became a lesson for everyone in the household. That humility and respect are more valuable than greed or desire. From that day forward, Kong Rong became known in the village not just as the clever youngest son, but also as a boy with a generous heart. People would say, "If a child can think of others before himself, he will grow to be a man of virtue." Years passed, but Kong Rong's reputation for kindness and fairness only grew. Scholars came to hear stories about the boy who gave up the pear, and parents would tell their children to follow his example. The lesson was simple, yet powerful. True virtue often begins with small acts of selflessness, even as small as choosing a pear. The story of Kong Rong giving up the largest pear reminds us that age and size do not determine wisdom. Even a small child can demonstrate great moral understanding. It teaches us that humility, respect, and generosity are qualities to nurture from the earliest years. And so, the tale of Kong Rong is remembered not for the fruit itself, but for the heart that understood fairness and care, showing that true greatness comes from thoughtfulness and consideration for others. Whenever people speak of fairness, kindness, and selflessness, they remember the little boy who, centuries ago, chose the smaller pear, and in doing so, became larger than life in the hearts of many. The lesson is clear. Sometimes giving up something small can teach the world a very big lesson. And in the story of Kong Rong, the simple act of giving away a pear became a shining example of how even the youngest among us can lead with wisdom kindness and humility.